Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. If you're just tuning in, we've been talking with Milwaukee Common Council President, 2nd District Alderman Cavalier Johnson. We've discussed public safety and so much more that is a concern here in the city of Milwaukee. And there's a lot more to discuss. So we thank President Johnson for joining us today. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So what I'd like to focus on now, just as a native of Milwaukee, I should just let everyone know you are a graduate of MPS Bayview High School, and then you went on to UW-Madison, and you gave us an idea of what really brought you into the world of politics. But if you could tell us, what are you most proud of up to this point as an alderman and as Common Council President?
Well, that's a big question, and I appreciate it. You're absolutely right. I was born and raised right here in Milwaukee. Obviously, continue to reside here in the city of Milwaukee. Went to Milwaukee Public Schools K through 12, ultimately graduating in 2005 from Bayview High School, going on to our state's flagship university, UW-Madison, and graduating from there in 2009. And the rest is kind of history leading up to this point now.
Right.
I guess what I'm most proud of as an alderman is being able to live out the dream that I really stumbled upon as a 14-year-old boy 20 years ago. I often tell people, like, I usually am wearing this green wristband, and on the wristband it's got the 4 core values of the YMCA. It's caring, honesty, respect, responsibility, and those were instilled into me when I was a part of team programming at the YMCA that opened up the door for me to be able to go to college from 5 through 206, where none of my family members had ever gone to college before. In that same year, when I was 14 years old, watching President Bush at the time, it was 9/11, watching President Bush go to the World Trade Center and try to bring people together, I just had a light bulb that went off in my head, and I knew that I could continue the service that I was doing through the YMCA, and government could be the avenue or the medium that I did it in. And so I just never turned back. And so I took that and served this community. I was on the board of community brainstorming. I did so many community service projects, helping seniors to rake leaves and shovel snow, going to Chile to help refurbish a school for young children who live in poverty, going to London and working with at-risk young people there, working for a nonprofit in New York, spending my first spring break in college in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, helping folks out on the Gulf Coast there. And just continue to be finding a way to be of service, because that's where I started. That's what I fell in love with. So legislation aside, the thing that I'm most proud of is that this community, this city, found a way for me to be of service. And that's really all that I could ever ask for.
Yeah, I love that. So moving back to the issues, there's a situation that has kind of been like a roller coaster and a soap opera all wrapped into one. And I am speaking of the situation that surrounded former Milwaukee Police Chief Alfonso Morales. He, of course, was demoted to captain by the Milwaukee Fire and Police Commission. He then resigned and started to collect his pension. Meanwhile, the Fire and Police Commission was interviewing candidates, a couple of those from out of town, that came to a screeching halt when a judge decided that Morales was wrongly demoted and decided he would return to take his job back. Like I said, just a small soap opera, right? But talk about how things actually have come to a head. This past week, the city of Milwaukee and Morales agreed on a $626,000 settlement. So what have been your thoughts throughout this entire process?
Well, my thoughts around the entire process are that, whether you liked Chief Morales or you didn't, the fact of the matter is that there are processes, there are procedures, and the way that he was demoted was out of line with those processes and procedures. And so the city attorney acknowledged publicly and in court that the city had erred. The Fire and Police Commission, that is, had erred in their demotion of Alfonso Morales, and a judge later determined that Chief Morales was due something. He was either due a financial settlement with the city, or he was due to be reinstated to his post as chief of the Milwaukee Police Department. And so there's been a lot of back and forth over the course of the last year. And ultimately, as you said, this past week, the city was able to strike a deal with Morales' attorney in order to have it so that the chief does not return to that position, but instead goes for the financial settlement. So this past Friday, the Common Council took up a measure to have that settlement go to our Judiciary and Legislation Committee, chaired by Alderman Ashanti Hamilton, for Monday. So this coming Monday, that will be heard by the Judiciary and Legislation Committee, and then we'll be able to pass that, have it go before the Common Council at its regular meeting on July 27th. Vote on it, and then hopefully this chapter in this saga will be done. And I would be remiss if I didn't tell you, Andrea, and all your listeners out there that this body, the Common Council, the city, I think owes a tremendous debt of gratitude to former Council President Alderman Ashanti Hamilton, who is a lawyer in his own right and who chairs the Judiciary and Legislation Committee that oversaw this lawsuit. Alderman Hamilton was there each and every single time for the negotiations around the Morales matter, and I think really executed the council's wishes on this settlement agreement. So again, I wanted to publicly thank and give kudos to Alderman Ashanti Hamilton.
Yes, and thank you for that detailed information. But what do you say to those taxpayers who have some frustration or just annoyed with the fact that they have to foot this bill?
Well, I'm just as annoyed as those taxpayers are. Look, the Fire and Police Commission erred, and in their error, I mean, it ended up costing the city, this lawsuit and this saga and stability in the police department. I don't know if the amount of money that Morales is being paid in the settlement is more than what he would have received had he been staying on working the job as police chief. But just for the fact that the city has gone through this whole process, and again, there has not been for nearly a year stability at the top of the Milwaukee Police Department in terms of a permanent police chief. That's troubling to taxpayers. But that was due to the action of the Fire and Police Commission. And the Common Council, I think, has done a good job of holding the Fire and Police Commission and the mayor, who appoints them, responsible. I mean, so over the course of the demotion to now, we've seen tremendous turnover on the Fire and Police Commission. And I think that is because of the pressure that the Common Council has put on the administration and that body as well.
Yes, and I think it is important to mention there are 3 new members that will be joining Milwaukee's Fire and Police Commission: Joan Kessler, Ed Falone, and Linnell Ramey, who has been on this show several times. So how important is it to have these community leaders join the commission, especially at this time?
Well, it's very important. Over the course of the past, not just last year, not just, last August, where the demotion of Chief Morales happened, but in the years prior, there's been a lot of issues with the Fire and Police Commission. There's been, some folks might point and say there's been some dysfunction even with the body. And that's not to say that the folks who have been serving on the commission did not have the best, intentions at heart for the city of Milwaukee, including for its police department, its fire department, as for its taxpayers. But there have just been a number of issues that have emanated from that body. And so what we have right now is the ability to start fresh with a new slate of commissioners who I believe, and I think who council members believe, because they received a unanimous 15-member vote on each of those nominations, that they'll be able to reset and really start to rebuild the relations between the council, the community, and the Fire and Police Commission, which is incredibly important. And we've got one of the most powerful police and fire department oversight bodies in the entire United States. And it's important that we have, folks who take that position seriously and will execute their duties seriously too, up to and including hiring and firing the chiefs of the fire department and police department.
Yes, and finally, I'd like to touch on the coronavirus. We have just a few minutes left. Needless to say, we're still working our way through this pandemic, but there appears to be light at the end of the tunnel. You have expressed that you feel certain that we can get through the pandemic stronger as a city. And the city of Milwaukee has actually put together several initiatives to place in hopes of getting more people vaccinated. So the Milwaukee Health Department has partnered with the Milwaukee Fire Department, Jump at the Sun Consultants, and other community stakeholders, and actually going door to door with hopes of really encouraging people to be vaccinated. Your thoughts on that?
I think it's great. I mean, the best tool that we have at our disposal to crush COVID, completely get this behind us, not allow for a dangerous new variant like the Delta variant to take a grapple hold on our community is to get vaccinated. Pure and simple. I know that there's some hesitancy out there, but overall, I mean, these vaccines have proven to be safe as well as effective. And I would encourage people to take up the health department on those offers, listen to council members, listen to other elected officials and community members as well, who have encouraged you to go out there and get the vaccination so that we can get beyond this, so that our economy can get back open the way that it should be, so that when people gather outside of Pfizer Forum like they were this past week over at game 4 in the NBA Finals, when they were gathering and cheering on the Milwaukee Bucks, folks don't want to be thinking about whether or not they're going to catch a communicable disease that way because folks haven't gotten the vaccine. We can all put that behind us if they go out and get vaccinated. So kudos to the health department. Kudos to some of our other partners out there who have partnered to put on community clinics. I know that Aurora had recently put on one at Midtown Center at their clinic there just this past week as well. We've partnered with Visit Milwaukee and Holy Redeemer Institutional Church of God in Christ in the past several weeks to put on clinics as well. So there's a lot of work that's being done, and I just implore people to make sure that they go out and get the vaccine.
Well, we thank you so much for your time. And one thing we'll be keeping our eye on, of course, you've been very vocal about your support for Acting Police Chief Jeffrey Norman. So we'll kind of see what's next when it comes to having a permanent Milwaukee police chief. So thank you so much for your time today. We know you're busy, and it's so important that you took the time to talk to us about these important issues. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Andrea.
2nd District Alderman Cavalier Johnson serves as the president of the Milwaukee Common Council. And for more information about President Johnson and to keep up with the issues, you can visit city.milwaukee.gov. That's going to do it for today's show. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. As always, thank you for watching, and I do hope you join us again next week as we take another look at our issues, Milwaukee. Have a great day.